Good morning and welcome to Today, coming to you live from London. Flags are returning to full mast across the United Kingdom as the national period of mourning comes to an end. The King travelling to Scotland for time out of the public eye. And it all comes as our Prime Minister flies back to Australia with new details about our public holiday announced. Let's go live to Christina Hearn, who is on the Mall. Chris, a big clean-up is still underway in London.
Ali, thousands were involved in this clean-up, which started last night, worked well into the morning. You can imagine the scale, given that some 2 million people descended on the streets of London. I have to say, driving around, it is pretty much back to normal. Some of the public spaces are already starting to open up once again. Westminster Abbey, of course, the stage of the Queen's funeral, will be open to the public once again tomorrow morning. We all remember those long queues into Westminster Hall to see the Queen lying in state. Well, we now know the figures of how many people actually filed through that historic hall. 250,000 people. As for the royals themselves, King Charles left Windsor just hours after the Queen's funeral, and he flew to Balmoral in Scotland, of course, the place the Queen loved so much and where she died. As for Prince Harry, he stayed in Windsor with his wife Meghan. He will fly to the US as soon as possible, but we're not expecting to see the royals now for a period of time after such a hectic and busy morning, hectic and public, I should say, mourning period. They will now mourn privately. Ali?
Thank you for that, Chris. And just so strange seeing the Mall there behind you, so quiet, considering what it was and what we were seeing just 24 hours ago. Well, I'm here at Buckingham Palace with the royal editor for the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. Nice to see you, Russ. I think when we spoke yesterday, you'd been awake for about 40 hours. How are you feeling tonight?
I think I'm pretty much the same, to be honest. But we're closing the end of a momentous occasion, and it's been a real privilege over the last few days.
Well, rather than go to bed last night, you've been breaking exclusive stories. There's one about to go to print right now about the King's coronation.
Yes, which is fascinating, I think, because we're entering a new dawn, and what will King Charles bring to the table, really? I think people are wondering when his coronation will be. There's a lot of talk about whether that will be next summer. June the 2nd has been mentioned. That will be the 70th anniversary of his mother's coronation. I think I like that idea of the continuity. He's spoken about it himself, about wishing to carry on the legacy of his mother. But also, what will it look like? And I've been told that he will want to represent a modern monarchy. And by doing that, it needs to be a bit scaled down. You know, we're all feeling the pinch here, not only here, but across the world, the cost of living crisis. Does it really set in a modern sense of having a sort of a huge celebration? I don't think so. It'll be scaled down. But also, he'll be inviting a multi-faith denomination, really. And I think that really gives a great interpretation of a modern Britain, a modern world, and what Prince Charles, or King Charles, stands for.
We're still
saying it. I know, yeah, exactly.
I know. Well, you've had so many years of saying Prince Charles. So when do you think? You're thinking around June next year? I
think so, because the Queen's was about just short of 18 months. It doesn't need to be that long. I think he'll want to crack on and get to a lot of places very soon. There's a talk of his first trip maybe in France to meet Emmanuel Macron. They've bonded over environmental issues, and hopefully we'll get over to Australia before long.
I know. Well, then you're going to join them. You've promised you'll come.
Fingers crossed.
Karl made you promise to that. Also, Harry and Meghan are trying to head back to the US as soon as possible. Yeah. You've got an update, though, on the relationship with Will and Kate.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think of course they want to get back. They've been without their children for about 2.5 weeks now. Of course, Archie's 3, Lilibet's only 1. So fair play to them. I don't think there's any point in them staying here. We haven't seen a lot of them. They've been holed up in Frogmore Cottage. But a little bit about the relationship between the boys, and what I've been told is that this truce, you know, if you can call it a truce, we saw them at Windsor Castle looking at the flowers, we saw them, you know, marching behind the Queen's coffin, but it's very much a temporary measure. And unfortunately, I think there's a lot of nervousness in the camp because Harry's book is coming out. We've had Meghan's podcast, so certainly there's a bit of distrust in that sort of arena. And until we know really what Harry's going to be speaking about, and you're dropping bombs all over the place, then I think it's fair enough that you know, people can't trust him. So let's wait and see. And I think that the Prince and Princess of Wales really want to maybe keep their cards close to their chest in that relationship.
All right, it continues. They're now in 7 days of mourning,
Yes.
private mourning, so they get a bit of a rest before it's life back to normal. And then maybe you'll actually get to sleep a little bit.
Who knows?
Good to see you, Rusty. Thank you.
G'day, it's Ali.
And Karl.
Thanks for watching the Today YouTube channel.
Subscribe now for brand new videos every day and exclusive bonus clips.
Ali, say please.
Please? Why?
Please? I don't know.